All right, guys, today we're looking at applications of radicals. I want you to look at the warm-up. Go ahead and look at the warm-up for today. Looks like this. I want you to pause the video and take about 5 minutes and work on the warm-up. All right, so the directions say, based on the squares with the given areas below, determine lengths of the line segment AB. Try to get as close as you can using decimal numbers if you must. Explain how you got your answer for each diagram. Okay, so when you have these, when you have a square, right? Let's just say we have a square and, the side lengths are 3. If it's a square, all the sides are the same, right? So how do you find the area of a square? Side by side, right? Side times side. So this would be 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay. But here, they're giving us the area, and we basically need to find, one side length for that square. We need to find this side length for this square. And we need to find this side. Okay, so if you know for a square, you get the area by multiplying side by side. That's s squared, right? So the formula for a square would be area equals side squared, right? But we don't know the side length, we know the area. So for this first little square, we know the area is 4, and that came from multiplying, we're going to call it x times x. So x squared equals 4. We undo the squared by taking the square root. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of x squared is x. So this side length is just 2. Does that make sense? All right, so if that's 2, what is the square root of 16 for this side? 4. So this is 4. What is the square root of 9? 3. So to get from A all the way to B, it's 2 plus 4, which is 6. 6 plus 3, which is 9. So AB, the line segment AB, equals 9 feet. We're going to do a lot of that today. We're going to do a lot of taking the square root, basically. Number 2, you've got 4 and 10. So we need to find this segment. We need to find this segment. We've got 2 squares. The first one, the area is 4. What's the square root of 4? 2. So this piece is 2 units. This is 10. So we're going to take the square root of 10, which is some decimal, right? We're going to say just square root 10. So to get all of A to B, that's going to be 2 plus the square root of 10, right? So isn't working. Hold, please. Can someone bring me a calculator? I want to show it on the video. Wait, no, never mind. I found one. Sorry. Miss Richards is not a morning person. Okay, so we're going to have 2 plus, you hit second and then x squared, and then we're going to do the square root of 10. Hit enter. And then when you get to this part, if you go down to the toggle button, it is right here. The little arrows, click that. And it gives you a decimal. We're going to round to 2 decimal places. This is going to be approximately 5.16. 5.16 feet. Okay, that's the warm-up. Now we just have a few practice problems and some homework. Turn the page. We're not going to do the ticket out the door just yet. We're going to do this page where it says applications of radicals. So again, just like the warm-up, you're going to take the square root of that. To find the side length, you have to take the square root of what the area was. So we have this square, which is 27 units squared, and this is 12 units squared. So we're going to take the square root of 27. And that can be reduced, right? We can simplify that. How can we simplify the square root of 27? 9 times what? 3. What's the square root of 9? So we have 3 square root 3. That is this part. 3 square root 3. And then we have square root 12. Is there a perfect square that fits into 12? 4. So we can rewrite 12 as 4 times 3. Square root of 4 is 2. So we have 2 square root 3 right here. So to get all of AB, that's going to be 3 square root 3 plus 2 square root 3. Well, what is that? 5 square root 3, and let's see what that is as a decimal. You get 8.66. We're going to round that to 8.7. So this is going to be 8.7 units. This says 24, if you can't read it. So number 2, same thing. We're going to take the square root of 24. We can simplify that as 4 times 6. The square root of 4 is 2. So you end up getting 2 square root 6 right here. And then on this side, we have the square root of 96. I think 16 fits into 96. Yes. So when you go down your perfect squares list and you divide by 16, 16 times 6 is 96. What's the square root of 16? 4. So we have 4 square root 6. So we have 2 square root 6 and 4 square root 6. We're going to add them together to get AB. What is 2 square root 6 plus 4 square root 6? And let's see what that is as a decimal. You should get 14.69. So we're going to say 14.7. Okay. Look at number 3. All right, this one's weird, so bear with me. We have 2 squares, right? One has an area of 27 units. The other has an area of 12 units. Okay, so we need to find what this is. We need to find what the whole thing is. What we're going to do is take the orange and then subtract the pink to get what's left, which is these 2, and then we will divide that by 2. Okay, I'm going to say that again. We're going to get the area of the big square. That's going to tell us, you know, what is this from A to D? What's all of that? Okay. Then we're going to, get the area of the smaller square, which is this pink line that I drew. We're going to subtract that. And then what's left will be AB and CD together. They're going to be the same, so we're going to divide by 2. Okay. So the bigger square is square root 27. We can reduce that. We did this right here. So it's the same thing. 9 times 3, which is 3 square root 3. That is this. Okay. And then the square root of 12, again, we did that right here. That's just 4 times 3, which is 2 square root 3. So this one is 2 square root 3. So we're going to take the big square, which was 3 square root 3. We're going to subtract the little square, which was 2 square root 3. And what do we get when we do that? Huh? Square root 3, yes. Now, square root 3 represents AB and CD. So again, we're going to say AB plus CD equals square root 3. So we're going to take the square root of 3, and we're just going to divide that by 2. That's going to be AB and CD. So take the square root of 3, which is 1.73, yep, and then divide it by 2. 0.86, we're going to round to 0.9. Okay, so we're going to say, line segment AB equals 0.9. Line segment CD equals 0.9, and that's units. Okay, so on the next one, we're going to take the area of this bigger square, which is 96. What is the square root of 96? Well, we did that up here, if you recall. We did it right here. So the side length, that should reduce to 4 square root 6. So that means for the bigger square, it's 4 square root 6. All those sides are 4 square root 6. So that means from A all the way to D, that whole thing is 4 square root 6. Okay, and then the square root of 24, this is your smaller one. Square root of 24, we did that up here. We don't have to do it again. We can just look at our previous work. That's 2 square root 6. Every side on here is 2 square root 6. So this is 2 square root 6. So we're going to take, we have this line segment AD, right? We need to subtract BC. We need to subtract this little part right here, and that will give us what's left, and we can divide that by 2. All right, so this is going to be 4 square root 6 minus 2 square root 6. What's 4 minus 2? 2. So that's 2 square root 6. So we're going to take 2 square root 6. That represents this piece AB and this piece CD together. To get them individually, we're just going to divide by 2. But when you divide by 2, those cancel out, right? You can't see. When you take the square root of 6 and you divide by 2, they cancel each other out right here. So AB and CD, they both equal the square root of 6. When you get the decimal version of that, you get 2.5. All right, let's turn the page. Okay, this is your homework, but I want to explain and kind of help you out with a few things before I just let you go. So on this problem, it says Jake is looking to buy some fence for his square garden. He will need enough fencing for the radish, carrots, lettuce, and his front gate. Place answers in the form of a radical. I would also do a decimal form too. Okay. Write this down. When it asks for perimeter, around a section, it means just the outside edge. Of that section. That is part of the larger square. Okay. So I want to do one with you. Let's do the radish one. Let's do number 2. We're going to do this one together. It says how much fence will he need to make the perimeter around the radish section? So what he's going to need for the radish section is this part and this part. Now, square root of 12, what does that reduce to? 2 square root 3. So each one of these is 2 square root 3. Thank you. Okay, so basically we need all of that. The square root of 12, when you simplify it, is 2 square root 3. So we basically need 2 square root 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's part of our multiplication that we learned. What is 2 times 5? Okay. I don't know why I'm doing this down here. This goes with number 2. So you want to write it here. I don't know why I decided to write it there. So you get 10 square root 3. That's your radical answer. And again, that's feet. If you turn this into a decimal, you get 17.3 feet. Okay. So that is your homework, is to finish 1, 3, and 4. We did 2 together. Again, when it's asking you for something, it's talking about the outside edges. So like number 1, how much fence will we need to make a perimeter around the carrot section? You only need this. You only need the outside. Okay. And then number 3 is asking how much fence will he need to make a fence around the lettuce section? He only needs this part. And then number 4 says if the entire garden is 243 square feet, how much fence will he need for the front gate? Okay. So you're going to have to figure out, okay, what is this? That's going to be 3 square root 3. And this side should be 4 square root 3. What is the square root of 243? And a radical. So we have 9 square root 3. And then you want to take and subtract these two pieces to get exactly what he needs for the front gate. That's what number 4 is asking you. Okay. Guys, on the video, take a minute and work on the ticket out the door. Pause the video for a second and work on the ticket out the door. All right, on number 1 for the ticket out the door, again, you just take the square root of 121. And that's 11. So it's asking you to find the perimeter. So we take 11 times 4. That's 44 units. Number 2, we take the square root of 45, which we can simplify as 9 times 5, which is just 3 root 5. Okay. And we have 4 sides. So we're going to take 3 square root 5 times 4. That gives us, yep, 12 square root 5. And then as a decimal, you should get 26.82 units. See if that'll focus. That does not look good. Let's see. There we go. And then 3 and 4. Again, you're just taking the square root and multiplying it times 4. Take the square root of 72. We can rewrite 72 as 36 times 2. And then that's just 6 square root 2. And then you're going to multiply that times 4. Which is just 24 square root 2. And as a decimal, 33.94. I think it's time for a new document camera. All right. Yay. All right, on number 4, there we go. That was number 3. Number 4, you have to take the square root of 19, which that does not reduce. So we take the square root of 19 times 4. So again, that's just 4 square root 19. And then as a decimal, you get 17. .44 units. Okay. So again, make sure you work on the homework. Tomorrow we are working on the study guide and the practice test. All of that can be found in Canvas, and you'll get a paper copy of the study guide. Remember, if you don't do the study guide, if you don't do the practice test and you fail the test, you don't get to remediate. And for the test review / study guide, it's basically the same thing. I need a paper you need to turn in your paper copy of that to the tray.